I'm Lauren from Pack Hacker, and in this video we're comparing the Lululemon Everywhere Belt Bag and the Lululemon Mini Belt Bag. If you found this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. Let's dive in. From the outside, these look pretty similar, but there are a few obvious differences, so we are just going to walk through them really quickly. Starting off with the materials, on the Everywhere Belt Bag, this is the one that you probably see more places compared to the Mini. This one here is a recycled nylon body, and then on the inside is a recycled polyester lining and some like mesh pockets. Whereas on the Mini here, we have just a regular nylon body, not recycled, and then on the inside is recycled polyester pocket and liner. So pretty similar in that sense in terms of like the base material, but you can see with this Everywhere Belt Bag, the material is just a little bit shinier, whereas the Mini has almost like a ripstop design to it. And I personally am someone who prefers more of like a matte finish, so this is a really great option for me. If you don't really care about that, then this material is still really great. The weather resistance is pretty decent with both of these here. You know, if you get caught in like a rainstorm, it's gonna roll right off, but they're not really weatherproof materials, so if you get stuck in rain for a very long time, that can start to seep through, so that's something to keep in mind. The zipper, we both have YKK zips on both of these as well. With the Mini, it's the reverse coil, so you don't see this like the zipper teeth on the outside, which just gives it a little bit more of like a sleek look. But this here with the black version and the other colorways, honestly, you don't really even like notice the zipper that much, in my opinion. And then with the zipper pulls, we have like a little metal pull on the regular Everywhere Belt Bag, and then on the Mini, we have a little almost like Hypalon rubbery, or I guess it's more rubber than Hypalon, but a little grippy, and then says Lululemon on the other side there. So in terms of logo, with the regular one, we have, or the Everywhere Belt Bag, we have the little horseshoe. It's like an actual tab. There's like dimension to it. It's metal, almost like a plasticky, metal-y kind of material. And then on the Mini, we have a little tab with the horseshoe, and then it says Lululemon on the side here. You can't really see the visual like Lululemon very often, unless like you can see the light hitting it in a very specific way. So I personally like the logo and the branding on this one because, I don't know, it's a little bit more obvious with this like little tab down in the corner there. In general though, branding's not like a huge issue for me, so it's more comes down to the materials, and I prefer the Mini because of its matte finish. I would say one of the larger differences between these two bags is the harness system. So it is just a simple, with both of these, single strap. There's no like additional crazy stuff going on. But with the regular Everywhere Belt Bag, it's just attached on either side. You have this fairly large Duraflex buckle, and then that sits on like the corner of the bag, versus with the Mini where it is actually central to the bag. So what this means is that if you were to wear this through an airport with a travel backpack, let's say, with this Everywhere Belt Bag, this buckle is going to be on the side of your body, so it's not going to interfere with that backpack, whereas this buckle here would theoretically be on your back with the backpack. Now this buckle is really low profile compared to the larger one on the Everywhere Belt Bag, and it does have like a bit of a matte finish to it, which I personally like. I think it's just kind of like keeps this bag a little bit sleek, but I do like the actual strap on the Everywhere Belt Bag a little bit more. It's like a very soft seatbelt-like material, whereas the Mini, it's a little bit rougher. It's still really comfortable, but I think this just feels a little bit more premium. And then with this, because it is just like a single strap that you adjust on a slide, it's like a closed loop, so there's no extra strap to mess with, whereas on the Mini, you have 4 strap keepers to keep all of that slack in check. I do like that there are 4. I think it really helps lock things down, but I prefer the harness system on the Everywhere Belt Bag a little bit more. Starting off with the fit on the Everywhere Belt Bag, it is a little bit lower on my body. Even when I tighten it, it doesn't really sit very well up here. I think part of that is because of its more like shiny material, but I find that it really wants to sit here. And you can also see this is that large buckle I was talking about earlier. If you want that out of the way, it's really easy to just switch strap positionings, but I prefer to wear my slings the other way. They're just more comfortable that way. So this buckle is just a little bit of a nuisance. It's not horrible though, but it does fit very comfortably in general. In comparison, the mini sits a little bit higher on my chest, which, like I said, I prefer. It does slip down a little bit, but much less than the Everywhere Belt bag. So I think it just has a little bit more of like a sleek fit, which I like. But in general, they fit pretty similarly in terms of like the angle that they sit at and everything like that, and comfort for both of them is pretty much even. In terms of secondary compartments, these keep it pretty simple. So with both of them, they have a pocket on the back. Starting off with the Everywhere Belt bag, we have actually a zippered pocket. So it's got this tiny little zipper pull. Kind of like stays out of your way. I almost wish I had this zipper pull on the front here just to kind of make that a little less jingly. But I do like it's nice and easy to grab and you don't like feel it against your body or anything. And this back pocket is great for, I have an iPhone 13. Fits pretty much in there exactly. You can see it comes to, my phone is like here. So it's almost exactly the width of this pocket. If you have a larger phone, you might struggle a little bit to fit yours in there. So that's something to keep in mind. But I would generally stick to flatter items for these pockets just because these are going to be resting directly against your body. So this is actually like a passport size notebook that fits in there great as well. So we have the mini, and in comparison, you can fit a passport size notebook in there pretty easily. So like if you're going through the airport and you want that just kind of like ready to take out, this is a really great option because then you're not like going into your pocket if you know you just need it really quickly. However, it doesn't really fit much more than that. So again, iPhone 13, can't really fit that in that pocket there. If you have a much smaller phone, you might have a little bit more luck, but definitely something to keep in mind. Even with my case off, it doesn't really fit in there. So didn't find that back pocket super functional, but like with both of these, honestly, if you don't have anything in them, you're not gonna notice them at all. So I just kept that pocket like empty. Sometimes I would shove, like if I went through a line or something like that and I paid for something with cash and I just wanted to like get out of the cashier's face in order to put my stuff away, then I would like shove the cash in there, step off to the side, and then I would kind of rearrange all of my stuff. So it's good for like a quick dump or something like that, but in general, phones or something like that that you want to keep in there longer term, a little bit too small for that. So if that's something that is a deal breaker for you, I would definitely go with the larger Everywhere Belt bag. All right, so on to the main compartment, which is primarily the only function of these bags because the secondary compartments are pretty minimal. So we'll start off, honestly, I'm probably just gonna open up both of these. So we'll do the mini. You can get like a quick little peek inside. There's only one pocket, mesh pocket, the rest is open. And then the Everywhere Belt bag, I actually have loaded up with all my stuff. So we'll take it from here, put it in the other one. But here you can see it's a pretty wide opening. So actually in terms of like liter storage, these are really similar. So the Everywhere Belt bag is 1 liter, the mini is 0.7. So that's really not that far off, but you can see the Everywhere Belt bag gives you like, it seems like a significantly like larger amount of space. And I did really notice that in my use as well. So with everything that I have in here, there's a lot of extra space specifically up top that you can utilize if you really need to. Like if you want to shove like a small pair of gloves or something in here, even a tiny hat, you can definitely do that. It kind of has like a tapered look to it. Like once this is all closed, it's a little bit bigger at the base, a little smaller at the top. So you can definitely get a decent amount of stuff in here, but with its look, it feels a little bit saggy in use. So with the opening here, you can see that it comes down almost like 2/3 of the way, whereas with the mini, it's only about halfway. And I think that really helps in keeping it from just like falling open as much. Because with this one, I think it's like maybe the material's really flexible. Not really sure what the exact reason it is. Maybe it's just kind of like a combination of everything. But when I have all my stuff in here, it just sort of feels like these pockets will sometimes just like, when I open it up, they just feel a little bit more open. Let me pull my keys and my wallet out of here. Like for example, with this back phone pocket, not touching it at all, you can see how much of a space there is between the mesh and my phone. And for me personally, I would much rather have this a little bit tighter just because I think it makes the pocket a little bit more efficient. And that's what you see in this smaller one, this mini here. That fits my phone basically perfectly. And I know a lot of that is, you know, width and things like that. but I just felt like it was a little bit more functional for me, so that when I just opened up the bag, dropped my stuff in there, I knew that it was like going into this main compartment and not going into maybe that pocket, but also maybe one of these and also maybe that center bit. So kind of a preference thing for me. I just felt like this one had it locked down a little bit more, so I like that. And then looking at what you can actually fit, I just had headphones and chapstick over here. So let's say I wanted to do phone back there to add a little bit of support. Then I have headphones, chapstick, and then keys. So this is pretty much the bulk of what I would carry on a day-to-day basis. Like if I'm just leaving my house, I would carry this, maybe not even these headphones. So for me, with as minimal items as I carry, this is really the largest amount of space I needed. I felt like it fit everything really perfectly, whereas with this bag here, it was just a little bit more than I needed. Now, if I was carrying a few more items, I am pretty much out of space in here without needing to like stack things up and kind of rifle through it. So if you do carry more items, I definitely recommend going with the Everywhere Belt bag just because you do have a little bit more space to work with. But in terms of functionality, both of these work pretty similar. When you have them on, as you saw, like when I had them on my front of my body, both of them hang at a pretty intense angle on your body. So when you open up the zipper, there is only one way that you can open. You can only open from one side. It's not a dual zipper. And so when you're like when it's hanging low, I think too with this one, because it opens so wide, or at least it feels like it does, I felt like my gear was a little bit more at risk of falling out, whereas with the smaller one, didn't feel quite as risky at falling out, but I did notice that it was a little bit hard to get around the corners, whereas with the Everywhere Belt bag, it was a little bit easier to get it. I think the zipper is just a little bit smoother. So a few little like nitpicky things for both of them, but in terms of functionality, they're both really great bags. At that point, it would just be deciding which one works for you based off of the size more than anything. So there you have it, the Lululemon Everywhere Belt bag and the mini belt bag. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.